Welcome back to Nerdrotic, everyone. And we are here to review Star Trek Discovery. Inexplicably, it has made it to Season 3, Episode 6, Scavengers of the intellectual property that we loved, formerly known as Star Trek, now known as Fake Trek. Greetings, everyone. All right. So there's a lot of little things that happen in this episode that don't matter to me, that I don't care about. I spoke about this last week. Characters. I need to care about these characters. I don't care about these characters. And the two characters that are the focal point are the two worst things in this show. If they decided to, I don't know, get rid of Michael Burnham and Emperor Giorgio and follow Saru around, I might be interested. I actually kind of like Admiral Vance. He's a competent admiral. I'm sure he'll do something duplicitous and evil later, but that remains to be seen. There are some out there I have heard through messages that think this episode actually introduced a character flaw with Michael Burnham. No, it's the character flaw that has been around since the beginning. And she ends up disobeying a direct order again, gets away with it mostly. She actually faces some consequences, and we'll get there. I try to watch this so you don't have to. I don't know how many of you out there actually watch this show. It's not a large number of people because it never trends anywhere. There are people who like the show. If you like the show, great. This might not be the channel for you or this live stream. Don't let me destroy your enjoyment of something. I don't think I have the power to do that personally. But as far as Star Trek Discovery is concerned, are they trying to do better? I believe so. I actually believe so. I don't think they're capable. There's trying and then there's talent. And there's a lot of representation in this show, but the one thing it's lacking is POT, people of talent. That is deliberate because Alex Kurtzman wouldn't want to hire anybody who is a more gifted writer than he is. There are many of you out there, some of you are in the chat right now, who have come up with better concepts, ideas, stories with this crew that I've heard in live streams than with the actual story. What we have gotten behind a paywall. It looks like they have a lot less money this season. I've said that before. A lot of, any outdoor shots. It was on planet Iceland for a little while. And then this is a JJ Trek thing. They like to be very industrial. So we end up in an industrial yard of some kind. That's a prison yard that rips off something from Running Man, but apparently, and I haven't watched the show, so I don't know, but this whole series is kind of a ripoff of Andromeda. I did go over a little bit on Friday Night Tights last night, which unfortunately I haven't been able to upload it yet on Nerdrotic Live because YouTube is still processing it, and I forgot to do a backup recording. So I am currently screen recording it, so you might hear some sound. That's my headphones, and that's Friday Night Tights in the background. Screen recording, 6 hours, and I've been doing it for 4 so far, and that will go up. But we went over in detail why this show in particular is so damn woke. It is so filled with intersectional feminism, identity politics. Well, it follows a guideline that was provided to them. Robert Meyer Burnett did a live stream on this last week. I want to give him full credit for finding it. I had no idea what it was. But I watch his live streams quite a bit. He has a different take on it than I do, but essentially it was a think tank, a partisan think tank that was partially funded by something called the Pop Culture Collective and the Roddenberry Foundation. And this think tank put together a sheet, a simple paper for each subject: Latinx, African American, criminal justice system, people with handicaps, and I forgot what I don't care about the political correct term. I really don't. Disabilities, sorry. And I forgot what the other one. Oh, immigrants. It was immigrants. And each one had a specific paper on what stories on the left-hand column. It was one stories you can't tell, and then stories you can tell. And in all the stories you can't tell is pretty much every story they've written in a Star Trek. And the fact that there's something called the Pop Culture Collective, and this is also funded by the Gene Roddenberry Foundation, which was created 8 to 9 years after his death. I'm sure it holds a lot of his ideals. I know exactly what kind of person he was. He was a very complicated human being, as we all are. He certainly had some very good ideas, and what came across in his version of Star Trek, and many others, believe me, it was taken over by a lot of talented people, was a message that got across to everyone. Everyone. This show does not do that. This show alienates people from the get-go. And when it does something right, and occasionally it does, it ends up taking 3 steps back in the same episode. And the fact that we're in season 3, right? And this show doesn't even know what it is yet. I understand shows finding their pace. Buffy had a rough season 1, although I love it. A lot of people say that Star Trek: The Next Generation season 1 isn't very good. I completely disagree. It wasn't perfect. When I was watching it live, when I was a kid, I had a problem with the old bald captain. That was about it. And I got over it in the first episode. But as far as this show finding its legs, finding out what it is, finding its own identity, well, its own identity is lost in identity politics and agenda and being a platform and not being entertainment. And this is show business, and this show is not entertaining because I don't care about the characters. We can go over canon violations and rules they break when they do that in this episode. Again, no concept of time and space. We could go over that all day long, but if I don't give a shit about the people who are in this, I don't care. And if I don't buy what they're doing, we have 5'4", 101-pound Michelle Yao with handcuffs on, beating the crap out of people who are 100 pounds heavier than her and a foot taller. I just watched and reviewed on Patreon The Mandalorian. We have Gina Carano, who is built like, a very attractive linebacker, and she can kick the shit out of people because we've seen it. So I buy it. Katie Sackhoff was in the episode before. Her character was an established badass in Battlestar Galactica. I can buy it. You need to sell it to me. You can't just go, well, it's make-believe, so it doesn't really matter. Well, it does. It does to some extent. Now, were there small people kicking ass in Star Trek before? Yes. Not a visitor, but I can buy it. I bought her as kind of a badass. So we'll get into the episode. It took me 2 days to watch it. It took me 2 days to watch it. And it's because it's boring. It's mainly boring. So we're still sticking with, if you remember, so long ago in this show, that it feels like 3 distinct different shows with the same crap, but a little more expensive in season 1, a little better sets. You definitely miss Anson Mount, who was the best thing about last season. But remember, in the very beginning of Star Trek Discovery, they had this Alice in Wonderland theme. Michael Burnham read the book because Sarek gave it to her. And they have and now I know why they call them the Emerald Chain. I want to call it the Emerald Syndicate, but it's the Emerald Chain. It's because they're Orions, they're green. And we have toxic green males in this, representing the toxic white male. And almost every scene has some form of Bechdel test intersectionality in it. And you can see it. And when you can see it, it takes me out of the entertaining part, which the only entertaining thing is when I laugh at when they do something stupid. Like, I don't know, Book inexplicably having a bomb when he was in a prison. I'm like, where did he get that? And I went back and I looked, and I'm like, he must have had it before and they didn't search his cell. Well, then people could have broken out. Well, yes, they have these things implanted in their neck. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go through this. So we start out with this weird speech, and they've done this before. So Captain Saru is talking at a bunch of people, and he's also doing a voiceover, which it should have been Captain's log, and then you do the little narration to catch you up on stuff. But no, he's talking to all the captains and the admiral, or all the admirals, I don't know what their ranks are, at the New Federation, who didn't know that the Discovery was an instant response vehicle until Saru said it. So apparently they debriefed the crew, but they didn't have time to debrief their own people there to go, hey, we have this ship that's an instant responder, because one of the captains or admirals is very surprised to hear that. And then he goes, this doesn't leave this room. I'm like, wait a minute. Weren't they at Earth? And didn't Earth search the Discovery? And didn't they check out the spore drive? So Earth knows there's a spore drive. I don't know how, I can't remember how much and I didn't want to bother to go back to the episode to find out. So maybe there is an explanation, but I'm like, I think more people know. And that could be a problem later. But after his dumb voiceover, he said, we're ready for duty. And then we hear about all the situations they have to, it takes them 3 weeks to get there and put out a bunch. They have 10,000 fires to put out. And I understand that. And they need to prioritize the Discovery. And there is a planet called Argith that is on yellow alert because of the Emerald Chain. The Admiral has no idea what they want there, but apparently they have 12 hours. We don't know what happens in 12 hours. So then they do a little exhibition where they pass out the new comm badges that have holograms, and you can it's just your magic bullshit machine comm badge that gives you the technology of the gods, but these people can't figure out how to get somewhere fast. In 100 years. Now remember, the burn happened 130 years ago from this time, and they haven't really bothered to figure out what it was. They've had bigger things to worry about. But the Federation, Michael Burnham is right, cannot be the Federation without faster than light travel, and it will never be whole again without figuring out what the burn is. But the Federation's just trying to hold itself together wherever it is, in the middle of space in some little bubble. They might have explained it. I might have missed it. I don't care. So after they go over the new godlike technology, Cleveland Booker, like from Serenity, Book, his ship shows up with his cat Grudge until he recognizes the cat. And apparently the ship took 3 weeks to get there at warp, I guess, because it has dilithium. For a dilithium shortage, there's a lot of ships with dilithium. And it gets there, and he says that I found a clue to the burn. I found one of the black boxes. So apparently the Federation ships, right before they exploded, Michael Burnham was able to get 2 of these black boxes and figure out that it didn't happen instantaneously. So, which is good because it couldn't. It couldn't. Now, maybe they sent a signal through the subspace communications, but I don't know when the Gorn destroyed 2 years of, it's like a honeycomb-like network. So the Gorn destroyed 2 years of it. They mentioned it in the first episode. They didn't say when. So I don't know if it was before or after the burn. So maybe they could have done it through subspace. I don't know. But that's still a huge problem with ships like light years away from each other. But whatever. So Michael Burnham suspects that she can triangulate the position because there was obviously a point of origin from the burn. So they need to get another black box. This is the highest priority. Saru says, no. We can't break away because a kitty cat showed up in a slab of metal that looks like the worst looking spaceship ever. And he says, no, we got to stay here. We're on call. We're the only ship, obviously, who's a fast responder. And of course, she breaks the order. She's like, nope. She goes right to Georgiou and says, yeah, we need to go down and save Booker. Apparently, he was down on this planet for 24 hours. He gave himself 24 hours. If he wasn't back, he programmed his ship and the cat to go to the Federation. So while he gave himself 24 hours, it took the ship 3 weeks to get there. Remember that. So we don't really know. I mean, he's been there for 3 weeks. In the meantime, they have another countdown clock going. We got 12 hours before something happens on Argith with the Emerald Chain. So Michael Burnham decides to take Book ship with Giorgio and go to this planet to try to see what happened to Book and get the black box. Behind Saru's back again. And why? I mean, I know why she picked Giorgio, because she would do it, but that's all. I mean, no red shirts, no security. These two very strong, powerful women are going to a prison planet to go break out a dude with what? I mean, who knows? So they arrive there, and Booker is imprisoned. He's got this little device in the back of his neck that if you cross the perimeter, your head explodes. Should sound familiar. It's a prison planet for the Emerald Syndicate, and it's run by an Orion who's a nephew of, let's see if I can pronounce her name, Orsaya. I'll just say it's Orsaya. And it's a she. It's definitively a she. Because it's Star Trek Discovery, and every person in a position of power, I mean, that's why Admiral Vance is such a rarity in this, is female. So, of course. Now, we're assuming this person is Orion because her nephew is Orion and he's green. But I have a sneaking suspicion that this big bad might be somebody familiar. I could be wrong on this one, but since we hyper focus on Michael Burnham, I wouldn't be surprised. In the meantime, Giorgio is having these little flashbacks. Something happened to her in her interview with David Cronenberg. And I don't know what he did, but she's starting to have flashbacks. It might have something to do with the Terran Empire, or the Terran, that reality separating from the one that we're watching right now. And David Cronenberg, if you remember last episode, said, "Oh, you stay on Discovery because you're close to somebody." And we all assumed it's Michael Burnham. Well, it's not. It looks like it's probably either a boyfriend or a kid. In the flashback, she goes, "Son," S-A-N. And you see a hand on a bunch of blood on a chest, and I'm assuming it's a dude. And it's when Michael Burnham, or no, it's when Giorgio brought up Ash. And of course, they were talking back and forth about Michael Burnham probably hooking up with Booker. She denies it. Of course, she did. I don't know why they're being coy about this, but whatever. In her year that she was separated from the Discovery, which was so transforming, that 365 days, that's so transforming. That's such a Hollywood thing. The lockdown has been absolute torture for the elites in Hollywood, who can go and do whatever they want, whenever they want. That part of it kind of, a little schadenfreude there, I got to say. We're also introduced to an Andorian character without his antennas called Rin. I think they grow back, right? Don't they grow back? Tilly sees the cat in Michael's apartment or whatever, and she's not there. She finds out that Michael Burnham has left and the ship is gone, and we know nothing about it since then. So Michael Burnham and Giorgio arrive at the planet, and they pose as buyers. They say, "We have a bunch of dilithium and we want to sell it." And they say, "Well, you got to go to the exchange." They're like, "No," Giorgio says he's a bully, so I acted like a bigger bully. I want to buy it right now. We're going to do this shit now. And he goes, "Okay." And she goes down there, and Michael is supposed to be her assistant, and they're posing as buyers in this scrapyard, and everybody works there to work off it's not work off their debt. They're slaves to Osira. So if they owed her money, they have to go work on these camps for the rest of their lives, and they get these implants in the back of their neck. And it's this big, industrial setting because JJ Trek likes this for some reason. It's very... it was ugly. And that's the thing about this show. It's for all the shininess of it. And at least the Federation, when they're on wherever they are, a ship, a space station. It's bright. You know, it's not as dark as things were in season 1, but it's just a drab, ugly show. And the ships are ugly, and the settings are ugly, and it's not fun, and it's trying to be fun. And this is where you see, well, I was about to say Alex Kurtzman's biggest flaw. He's got so many. He's very good at talking people into making more Star Trek when he's not very good at it. His version of Star Trek, which is Star Trek made for people who don't like Star Trek. But he's not funny at all. So they try some humor. They got Linus accidentally beaming into situations where I was looking for the mess hall, and he ends up in, the spore, where the spore drive is. And yeah, it wasn't funny at all. So they make it down to the planet, and Georgiou's doing her overacting, which is, the acting is bad. For one, Sonequa Martin Green, who I've seen be, smile and stuff in interviews. I guess I would say over dramatizes her acting. She really draws out she's like, this is a very powerful statement. It's like, and then Georgiou, and I've made this analogy before, is like on Halloween when your mom dresses up as a lady of the night and tries to do her fake sexy stuff. Georgiou just cannot pull it off. Michelle Yeoh cannot pull it off. She's good in a lot of things. I like her. She's not good in this. I liked her as the stoic captain in the first episode. That worked much better than this. And they want to make a whole series around her, and you can see them setting this up now. And I'm sure that is just going to be quality television. Quality television. So they're wasting time. There's a lot of walking around, and Book sees Michael Burnham, and they sneak off and hug. And he says, I've got the black box, but I can't get out of here. I didn't want you to come. And she said, of course I did, because she's got her savior thing going on. She's willing to risk her career every time, but there's no risk here at all. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Well, you'll find out at the end of this episode, and she'll end up being in the right. I remember the first 2 episodes when she started a Klingon war, and then she ended it with an iPad. So there you go. Booker, there's a character. Yeah. So they introduced the Andorian Rin, and he's a pariah now. And I guess he started a resistance. So Osira, instead of killing him, cut off his antennas and gave him the job of putting the little discs in the back of everyone's neck to make him a pariah, to teach a lesson. That's how hard she is. Booker doesn't look like he's in danger. I don't think that we ever thought he was going to die or not make it out of this situation, because there's absolutely no stakes. And this is where we see why. So the nephew of Osira, who's just a dim male idiot, the toxic green male, we'll talk him. The toxic green male is taking him through, and he can't see through the subterfuge of fucking Georgiou's genius character acting. And he finally figures out, after something happens, he has to walk away. He puts a drone on him, and then they destroy the drone, and they're going to break everyone out of there. How? I don't know. Well, okay, so they went through the parts, and Georgiou was able to quickly put together a gun or something that can, a weapon real quick. And then she's going to get the toxic green male has a switch that he keeps touching that will turn off the perimeter so everyone can escape. Now, at no point did I see Book bring in little bombs. But apparently he had them somewhere. So when they do the big breakout, Michael Burnham and Georgiou kick the shit out of everyone. Little 5'4" and 5'6" Michael Burnham, between both of them, I think they equal. I'm 185. So they might be 15 pounds more than me. They might be 200 pounds together. Kick the shit out of everyone. And they end up getting on Booker's ship, but then they get caught again. And one of the toxic males, green male's assistants, finds the dilithium. Now Georgiou and Michael Burnham at this point are handcuffed. And they beat the shit out of everybody again with handcuffs on. I'm laughing at this point. In the meantime, there's a couple subplots here that matter not. But Saru goes to Tilly because he's very upset Michael Burnham disobeyed a direct order. So he wanted Tilly to maybe explain logically why this happened, and she didn't. She goes, nope. She kept us all in the dark. She bailed. She's making us all look bad. And Saru was surprised. Tilly said, well, I probably would have done the same thing in her position. Saru says, I don't think you would have, but he needed her approval to do what he's about to do. We also have Adira. Remember Adira? We spent a whole episode around Adira. She just retrofitted the spore drive by herself because she's a 16-year-old genius, a girl of science, because we need women in STEM. And it actually says that on that list that I showed on Friday Night Tights. So she figured out a way where Stamets can take off the little apparatus on his arm, and he just puts his hand in some gel and he can jump easily. And they connect because we need to have all of the, okay. I don't care about being careful. I really don't give a shit. So we have to have the gay character connect with the other gay character. And this is the intersectionality of the show. Instead of, I don't know, having another character interact with them, showing the unity and the egalitarian society that the Federation and Starfleet is, we're having people go off in their groups now. You know, we got Booker and Burnham, and it's noticeable. And, you know, no, we should have them all working together. But And honestly, this was brought up by Robert Meyer Burnett too. I just think it's cringe as hell. So we have Stamets connecting with Adira. Adira's talking to her fake boyfriend. So technically they're not gay, I guess. And I don't care. So they have them connecting in this really fanfic 14-year-old girl writing level style over the spore drive. And Stamets is just overwhelmed that Adira trusted him. And there's a later scene where she tells him about the fake boyfriend. And he understands it because he was seeing visions of Hugh when he died as well. So they connected intersectionality. They connected over intersectionality and delusion. Okay, great. And we don't know why. There obviously is something going on. Michael Burnham heard the same song being played by Adira, and then on the seed ship from last episode. And obviously Adira can see her boyfriend. So there's something wrong with time and space, I'm assuming. And Michael Burnham will fix it. You know, maybe she'll just make another Red Angel suit. Or she'll find her mom and she'll have made another Red Angel suit. There will be some Deus Ex Michael Burnham that will come at the end of this season. I don't know. Maybe next episode we might be getting Spock. I think the next episode is Unification Part 3. And we get the Vulcans. Oh boy, more canon to crush. Can't wait. Okay, so yeah, they fight. They make it out. There's a big breakout. Saru talks to Admiral Vance, and Vance, he has to tell him that, or Commander-in-Chief Vance, that Michael Burnham's gone. He's all, wow, okay, I guess you got to cope with that. You're number one, because it looks like you're going to have to go to Argoth. Now, I don't know how long it's been. Remember, they had 12 hours, but it took Book's ship 3 weeks to get there, but Michael Burnham and Giorgio were able to get there in like a hot minute. So we're in a 12-hour window. A ship took 3 weeks to get there. Maybe it took the long way. Maybe Grudge stopped off at a few space 7-Elevens at a pub. I have no idea. But they make it out. Michael Burnham and Giorgio defeat all the bad guys in the toxic green male, who is able to be Moy, with handcuffs on and weighing 101 pounds. It kind of reminds me when they're fighting. It kind of reminds me of this. No, that's not it. It kind of reminds me of this.
All right. Alright, so we got 2 warrants out for this guy. He's arrested and he's not coming out, so we're gonna have to extract him.
From the great Steven Crowder show. That's what I think of. Verisimilitude. Gina Carano. Katie Sackhoff. Yes. Michelle Yao and Sonequa Martin Green. No. 3 seasons in, beating the shit. I mean, she beat the crap out of Booker, who is a good foot taller than her. I'm sorry. What is it? Dollar Store Idris Elba? I think that's what they're calling him. Dollar Store. He's all right. He's at least has personality. Commander-in-Chief Vance feels like he's in charge. So, yeah, they're taking baby steps. I think everybody kind of likes Doug Jones. I mean, there's nothing not to like about Doug Jones. For one, he's not an idiot on Twitter, and he's nice to, he's very respectful to fans and stuff. And I think he is a true Star Trek character. He has my respect. But not much else. Tilly doesn't add much, and all these other crew members, they're given names now, and they do nothing but nod in approval to Michael Burnham the whole time. So they get on Booker's ship, and they save Booker, and the Andorian who takes a shot for Booker, Rin, he's able to give the black box to Michael Burnham so they can triangulate the possible origin of the burn, which I don't care about really. What I'm concerned about is what it's going to do to Star Trek canon. The only way you can fix this is saying they're in an alternate timeline, which they could be in. And they have to work their way through timelines to get back, and that would get them out of Star Trek canon. But I just don't think, for one, they have to get Georgiou back. So they're going to have to invent some other magical bullshit machine to open up a wormhole just to send her back, because the Discovery can't go back, although in the future they've never heard of Control, but we don't know what the consequences are. And I don't care. So what else happens? Stamets has that lunch with Adira where she introduces her fake boyfriend, and they trust each other. And then there's a scene with him and Hugh in bed. And Stamets is just enamored with the fact that a teenager trusted him. And that's, they have a lot in common, and we're going to get to watch their personal journey together. And I'm so excited about that, because that's why I watch Star Trek. This is why they take over established franchises. Instead of, telling a story like this on its own in some independent film that would probably be a little more authentic. They know not a lot of people would be watching it, because you're aiming your show or your very expensive show that has to make money back at a very small amount of people. Well, that's what you're doing with Star Trek. And they want they thought because it said Star Trek, that's just going to come along with fans. That's money in the bank. And they were wrong. It's not a lot of money in the bank. It's some, but I doubt they're getting a return on their investment on this. And what they're doing is just, they keep gambling. They're like a gambling addict in Vegas. They just because the next time this'll be a hit that'll carry. They thought that was going to be Picard, wasn't Picard. That's why they came up with Strange New Worlds and prioritized that over Section 31, which was supposed to come out. Picard Season 2 not being filmed. Apparently, they're filming Star Trek Discovery, because that is filmed in Canada, and Star Trek Picard is filmed in L.A. because of Patrick Stewart. And apparently he's not budging on that. He won't film somewhere else like New Zealand or Canada. It's got to be in L.A. or not at all. And I guess that was part of his deal. Now, not at all is a very good option. I am down with the not at all. Although the damage has already been done, it's permanent. Let's not forget, Admiral Picard is dead, and there is a robot copy of him running around at the same age. When you had every opportunity to recast him, it's just dumb. It's just dumb. So let's get to you guys. Did they mention Bazaar Exchange? They did. I'm going over my notes. God, yeah. So, at the end, that's what I'm forgetting. At the end, they get back. Booker kisses Michael Burnham in the elevator. Rin is going to be okay. They remove the disc from the back, and Booker said, now it's time to face the firing squad. They kiss, and then Linus interrupts them, beaming in. Haha, supposed to be funny. Another joke in an elevator, trying to be the Orville. By the way, this episode is also not sponsored by the Orville, which is available on HULU. It's actual Star Trek, made by Seth MacFarlane. It's a very good show, and you can just, sign up for a month and watch 2 seasons and have a good time. Or The Expanse on Amazon Prime. The Expanse season 5 is going to, less than a month. I'll be covering every episode. This should be one of the best seasons because it's based on one of the best books, but we will see. So at the end, Saru disciplines Michael Burnham. Okay. There's some consequences to her actions. And he says, Saru says, it brings me no pleasure, but while I understand your actions, and Admiral Vance chewed her out too, and said, the only reason you're not in the brig is because you save lives. And they've done that before in Star Trek all the time. But Saru demotes her. He demotes Michael Burnham. Everybody's all, she was just shown consequences. No, that's what she wanted. She didn't want to be the number one in the first place. She doesn't even want to be with Starfleet right now. So Saru mentions, I wanted to return to normalcy, but there is no such thing now. Things are different. And Michael Burnham agrees, and he demotes her, and he's really upset about this. And if they had left it there, sure. Nope. She turns around and tells Saru he's doing the right thing. You almost did something right, and then you fucked it right after that. And he goes, one day we'll get the answers. Instead of saying sheer fucking hubris or something like that, he says, one day we'll find the answers we're all looking for. And Michael Burnham then cries for some reason. And then she takes her badge off, and the show's over. So, again, the biggest problem with this is there's so many. I've gone over so many of them for so many episodes, but we have a ship full of people we don't know, and the ones we do know, we don't care about. And that's the one thing I hear over and over and over again, and that's the one thing they cannot improve. The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. We have the same writers writing the same woke Star Trek, and they try to throw a bone to people because they do listen. I've heard they listen to me. That's fine. They listen to other people. I don't know if they hear us, though. I don't know if they hear. I don't know if they can get over their own belief systems to just make an episode of science fiction television. What this is SyFy. It's built for sci-fi. It's built for the CW. It's not built for science fiction. And I don't question myself ever on this. I know people have different opinions, but I am positive that this is a bad show. I don't think I'm just coming at it at a different angle. This is a bad show. It's poorly written. They don't even woke right. And I think I don't know if Red Letter Media is going to do a review. I'm going to do a full video review like I'm doing my Picard review. It's going to take time. It's going to be a couple hours long. But if you really want to see point by point what we're talking about, because it's really hard to remember all of the dumb things. Again, at the end, when Book is breaking out of the prison, he sets up a big prison breakup, and all of a sudden he pulls a bomb out. And I'm like, dude, where'd you get that? That probably would have come in pretty handy. How many do you have? I went back in the episode. Maybe they shot it and cut it out. I didn't see him. Where the fuck that come from? And the cast, Stamets. the guy playing Stamets, I'm blanking on his name right now. The guy who accused Kevin Spacey of doing very bad things he's just good at making really weird facial expressions. Very Jodie Whittaker in his facial expressions. Little Ricky is not a very extraordinary actor. He plays Little Ricky on Star Trek. Tilly, who a lot of people liked in season 1, is useless. I don't understand why she's there. She's supposed to be the person that the insecure fangirls can identify with. Well, maybe they do, but I don't think that's Starfleet material. And this is a female-centric show. This is what the Alex Kurtzman confirmed that in an interview. It's a female-centric show. That's why it doesn't work. Star Trek is supposed to be a human-centric show. So it gets blinded by its own intersectionality. Let's go to you guys. I honestly don't know how much longer I can do this. I think I need to bring a co-host on or something. Because what the hell? I hate taking, 3 hours out of my life to watch this thing. At least The Mandalorian was good and it had its reasons, and I'm going to do a review on that. But now we go to you guys. Thank you for being here, Modrotics. What's up, Eric K? How you doing? The whole crew is a nervous wreck of gender and identity, says Steve Ippa. Exactly correct. And it's filled with a bunch of people. I barely know the names. I always have to go back to IMDb. So we have Dentmer, Joyce, I can't say her last name, Bryce, who is the communications officer, Reese, who is Asian guy who smiles a lot. There is I can't remember the skinny blonde woman, I think, who used to play Arium, but she couldn't handle the makeup, who always gets the con. You have got, and I don't understand how the hell she gets so much focus. Because they hired everyone on identity and not on talent. It's filled with a bunch of commercial actors. That's the best way to put it. People who should be in a toothpaste commercial. Hey, that's good work if you can get it. Jack Beers for $5. I found a way to make watching Discovery more fun. Every time Georgiou says something cringy, I take a shot of vodka. Well, then I'm surprised you're conscious right now, Jack Beers. Polaris, thank you for the $5. Polaris sucks for 5 Canadian pesos. Found your channel because I hated STD and most modern television, but wasn't sure why. The actress for Burnham is horrible, not plot worthy. She's horrible, and that is an individual person we're talking about. We're not talking about a race of people. We're talking about an individual actress who is not above criticism. I'm not either, but she is the lead in this show. I used to call it a superhero show because it had a superhero origin and really it peaked with the Red Angel suit, but they have tried to dial it back and make it more episodic while still having the burn be the focal point. I just don't care. Bird of Prey 5, Kapla for $5. What's up, man? Notice today detached nacelles look a lot like pod racer engines from Star Wars Episode 1. That's right. I missed that. The detached cells were done for maneuverability. That was a part of Saru's voiceover. In space. Maneuverability in space. But these are the people who brought us Sonar in Space. But now I get to watch your review, Bird of Prey. Polaris sucks for 2 Canadian pesos. The actress for Tilly looks like a hot mess also. Yes, they do all look really neurotic. Really. Yep, sure, for $10. Can't believe that they canceled Enterprise and this crap is easily getting renewed for another season. Wish they spent the money and bring Enterprise back, but they would probably have screwed that up too. Well, yep, sure. For $10, I thought Strange New Worlds could have been a continuation of Enterprise. You could have just called it Enterprise. As a matter of fact, I think they were calling it Enterprise for a little while, or at least the Access Media was. And you just have a different crew. You just call it Enterprise. It's still on the Enterprise. And I wonder what happened to the Enterprise. I guess we'll find out. Did the Enterprise get destroyed in the burn? Well, it got destroyed by the Burnham, that's for sure. Dash Fat Bastard for $2. For good, bad STDs of this era, and for good / bad STDs of this era, and will have a legacy. It is of this era. So you're saying it is of this era and will have a legacy. I don't think so. I think it'll fall into oblivion, a memory hole. And the reason it won't have a legacy is because it hasn't captured a new generation. You have to have kids watching this show. If you want your show to have a future, there has to be 7, 8, 9 to 17-year-old kids religiously watching this show, because that's how Star Trek survived. It was on, of course, network television, and there was a lot of adults watching it. The ratings were actually quite good for the time. Still got canceled because it was expensive and Gene Roddenberry was a pain in the ass. Then it went to syndication, and a bunch of 5-year-olds my age, because we didn't have a lot to watch, were watching this extraordinary show as we were growing up. And it was on repeat in the 70s and early 80s. Twilight Zone and Star Trek was on all the time. And is because everybody loved it. They were watching it over and over again. So some of the best writing in television. And that's how you carry forward with the next generation. There's no video games. There's no toys. What you're selling to is the former Tumblr crowd, the Twitter crowd. Twitter is done. And the social media crowd. And that just, none of that stuff has lasting power or staying power. So its legacy will be its destruction. And people will go, I remember that dumb show. It doesn't have a memorable episode. There's no single episode that's considered classic Trek. The best you get is, I'm kind of liking it now. They're telling a story. You hear, it's very defensive when people have just given up and go, you know what, I've accepted it for what it is and I'm going to watch it because I love Star Trek. That's not anything that is built to last. And it's not a ringing endorsement either. Southeastern Kaiju for $5. Isn't there some sort of cubic zirconia grade dilithium they could use instead? It looks just as good. Well, they had Ice Cream Girl from a short trek who could recrystallize it. I guess her planet was filled with it. I don't know what happened to that planet. I don't know. I guess they can't get there. That's the whole thing. But another civilization probably already had, I know they already had other ways of traveling. They would have probably taken over. Nauru Takakan for $10. What's up? Hail, Gary, from a fellow ex-Bay Area refugee. Isn't this season of Discovery basically just a ripoff of Andromeda? That's what I hear. I haven't watched the show, but that's what many, many people have said consistently. Where a ship from the past has to restore a fallen Federation. Seems like it to me. Well, yes, it's a ship from the past that had superior technology even in the 24th century, and it's superior technology now. Dash Fat Bastard for $2. I was sad, but had to leave the Bay Area. I did ages ago. Yeah, if you grew up in the Bay Area, I'm sure you loved it. You love where you grow up. As somebody who grew up down here and went there, and the specific reason I went there was for a woman. These are the reasons we travel. There's a saying, you go where the love is. And that's where I went. I met a lot of great people there. There's a lot of very cool, most everyone there is regular folk. They want families. They have kids. They want to be happy. Their politics might be a little different, but they're not all the psycho, insane, like the politicians. But there's a group there too, right? And it's, so the Bay Area is kind of nice. San Francisco, I think, is overrated. Absolutely overrated. Always been overrated. San Franciscans love San Francisco. If you travel there and you go to the nice bits, sure. But nobody who lives there hangs out in the nice bits. It's like in Vegas. Nobody hangs out in the Strip. Although if I lived in Vegas, I would hang out in the Strip every day. Mike Fuller for $10. Hola, Gary. Keep it going. I will. No doubt. Thank you for the $10, by the way. Matthew Matson for $4.99. Robert Meyer Burnett said that season 3, episode 9 and 10, Terra Firma, will destroy the entire history of the universe. Will tie to Doctor Who. DC head will explode. I think mine will too. Does he know something that we don't? Oh boy. I'll have to talk to him on that one. So that, yeah, well, I mean, yes, this is what they do. They invade and they destroy. And I'm talking specifically about the identitarians, SJWs, NPCs, intersectional feminists. They want to, that's why they go back into prequels. Instead of making a new show and going forward, they want to go in the past and destroy it because it's problematic to them. That was the whole intent. Doctor Who undid its entire past. And it looks like Star Trek is going to do the same thing, according to Robert Meyer Burnett. I would not be surprised. This show isn't worth stealing, says Pilgrim Media for $2. Yes, it is not illegally downloaded very often. It's not watched a lot. It's not even the most watched show on its pay service. Not even close. Nathaniel Larson for $5. All I want is Lord of the Rings trilogy quality show that covers the Silmarillion. That might be too much to ask for, though. In this day and age, it is. If it was made right around the time of The Hobbit, it probably could have been okay. But I'm very worried about it. I don't think they will adhere to Tolkien's, the spirit of Tolkien. I don't think I'm going out on a limb by saying that. Douglas Nelson for $2. We all know where Booker hid those bombs. Oh, that's right. He keistered them. How many bombs can he fit up there, Douglas? How many bombs? And where did he put the black book? That's my next question. Bird of Prey 5 for $2. I LOL'd when Tilly asked Carr if she... Tilly asked Carr if she... I don't understand that. When Tilly asked Saru if she was Burnham, are you saying if she would do the same thing as Burnham? Yeah. I think that's what you're saying there. Sorry, Bird. Fred W. Manzo for $2.99 gives me a thumbs up super sticker. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you. Cedric Taylor, 08 for $5. Hey, talk to the mayor. Come to San Antonio, Texas. We're thinking about moving to that area, but I don't want to move to the city proper because I don't want to be anywhere near a city. Done with cities. I want to live in the country. I'll probably have to, I don't know where I'll come up with the money, but we'll figure out a way to get some good internet out there. My plan is when I retire someday, is to unplug, be gone. But that's a long way off. I don't know if I'll be able to retire ever at this point. Mogley 67 for 5,000 yen, I believe. Can't woke right. Hell, they can't even woke left well. Number 1, woke 5, please. That's right. I think in my description I said these are the adventures of the USS Bechtel, heading into the sector of intersectionality to confront the toxic green males. Theodore Span for $7.99 Australian. It's estrogen trek. It needs a strong secondary character like Lorca or Pike for balance. Woeful season 3. It does. I mentioned it. You'll see it in my video. You know what The Mandalorian has? The one thing it has that a lot of sci-fi does not anymore, and that's why a lot of people are drawn to it. Storytelling's not that sophisticated. Masculinity. It has masculinity. It's still egalitarian. It has female representation. I'm going to talk about it. Jeremy brought it up in Friday Night Tights, made a great point. I'm going to extrapolate on that point. The latest episode of The Mandalorian exposes all of them, every single person attacking Gina Carano, sitting there saying they want more representation, as a bunch of phonies, a bunch of liars, a bunch of racists themselves. And because that episode was everything they asked for. And what are they doing it? They're tearing it apart because they don't like Gina Carano, has earned a place on this microphone right next to Q. Isn't it weird that his last name is Anon? No, I'm just kidding. That they're tearing Gina apart because she wouldn't put pronouns in her bio, and she shared a couple of political memes. Never said anything specific. And they're going to go after Rosario Dawson too, because she got sued by somebody who said that her family misgendered her. And they, by the way, all those have been dropped, but they're still running with it. So the Access Media continues to lie, just like they lied about us, you know. And it also, that episode kind of exposes the tragedy of Star Wars, of Disney Star Wars. It really showed us what it could have been if they didn't fuck it up so much. Theodore Span for $7.99 Australian. Thank you again. Mac Way for £5. I'm going to finally try to give the original series a really good try in the hopes of some good new Trek to me. Or new to me Trek. Yeah, you know, it's going to be tough. I don't know how old you are, Mac. It was a show made in the 60s, but I think the writing is timeless. And that's another problem with here. Oh, let me show you some more examples. Let's start with this. This dates Star Trek. One of the problems with, I mean, I love Buffy, but Buffy is a dated show. Angel's a dated show. I don't know how much longer they can continue to get new fans, because, I mean, they're getting pretty old, long in the tooth. Star Trek, it's dated in its sets, but not in its writing or its ideals. That transcends time. This is dated garbage. Oh, there's more. So your boy Zach from Comics Matter, formerly of Diversity in Comics, was really a pioneer at pointing out SJW storytelling. All the black males are soulful saints. They can't write them with any complexity, any flaws, because that writer, if it's a white writer, will be called racist. And pretty soon, if you're white, you're not going to be able to write black males or black females. They'll have to bring a specific writer in to do that, because that's intersectionality. We're heading back to segregation. People deny that, and it's happening right in front of us. And then, of course, so we had 5 minutes till shit gets real. But the thing, so Book is, I mean, and he's not a bad character as far as Star Trek Discovery goes. He's just nothing, because they can't write him with complexity. He's a big space Jesus hippie. And luckily, Michael Burnham ran into him in space. But this is SJW writing to a T. I love me. Nobody, and I mean nobody, who is healthy says this. You would say something like this because you're obviously not hearing it enough from other people. So you have to say it yourself. There's a thing that happens to it's kind of, it's the pandemic, and it's drawn from insecurity. Okay. There's a lot of insecurity out there. That's why people are having such a hard time. And this might be the product of an affluent society. You know, the economy was pretty great. People were pretty comfortable. And there's a lot of people out there who don't have a lot of meaning in their lives. Well, meaning is something you have to, I'll use my I statements. I have to find my own meaning in this universe. The world can't bend to me. So I can't sit there like I'm a comic book character and go on Twitter and expect people to address me a certain way if they've never seen me, throw pronouns, and then attack people I don't know because they misgendered or mispronounced a person without knowing you. And they're using this to attack you because they feel so shitty inside that they need to lash out at something. And that is a problem that doesn't get fixed overnight. And it's getting worse. And it's exacerbated by idiots in Hollywood making it okay for people not to work on their character flaws and being proud of them. I'm not proud of my character flaws. I am aware of them. You know, at times I go, I'm too old to change my ways, but you never really are. I never really am. And I try to improve every day. I'm never going to be perfect, but it's about the journey. But to not work on it at all and just to go, I'm good. And what you do is you put your pronouns up, and this allows me to be the biggest asshole I want to be to anybody I want. It's not about identity. It's not about what actual LGBTQ people have gone through in the past. You don't give a shit about that. You are using that as a shield so you can be the biggest asshole on the planet and then somehow rationalize in your head you're doing good. And the way, Gina Carano has stood up, and it's very similar to what David Chappelle did last year when he was getting criticism, and he's just like, fuck you. I don't care what you think. And we need to really get that. Care what your family thinks. Care what your mom and dad think, your brothers and sisters, the ones you respect, you care about, your wife, your partner. Care what you think, but don't worry what other people think. And they can't work that out in their head, so they lash out a lot. And I'm not breaking any news here, but it's identity, and it's a lack of identity, lack of meaning. So they try to find these fictional identities like they're children, and like, it's LARPing. It's playtime. And it's not healthy. So when you see stupid shit like this, it does send a horrifically bad message to girls specifically. Now, I don't have daughters, but if my son said something like that, I'd have a talk with him. Yo, what's the matter, kid? So that is SJW writing. We saw that all through 2017 through present Marvel. And your boy Zach eloquently pointed it out in multiple videos. Go back and watch them. Signor Nusano for $10. FYI, Signor is, see, I'm an idiot. So Signor in Italian. So Signor Nusano for $10. The imminent Biden regime reminds me of the episode of Star Trek, Patterns of Force. Love you, Gary. Ooh. Well, all I'll say is things aren't decided yet. I'm sure it's looking like it's looking like to me. I don't know. I've kind of turned off on that for a little while. I'll tell you who won. Big tech won. The system won. Mainstream media. The mainstream media lost. They did. The system they'll be no longer useful to the system. You're seeing that with CNN is about to get sold. And they're going to miss that ratings boost that they relied on and sold their soul for and sold their integrity for, or whatever, what was left of it. And now that's why you have people watching Tim Pool, watching Joe Rogan, many others out there, because people just want, everybody's going to have their bias and their opinions, but that's why I used to watch the BBC back in the day. I used to actually watch BBC News and trust BBC News because, and this is years ago, I didn't see bias in it. It's a lot different now, and it's too bad. They weren't perfect. I'm not saying they were ever perfect, but nobody is. But at least try. And that's why the access media is failing. You see a bunch of people gushing over this show. Nobody buys this shit. They know you got a free little gift basket with some whiskey in it. And they came out and said it. Kurtzman came out and said, we're going to send gifts to, well, he didn't say specifically gifts, but he said, we're going to work with certain influencers, and he used that word influencers, to try to help promote the show, which is a smart thing to do. The thing is, your show has to be good for influencers to have influence. If they tell you a bad show is good, they lose their influence because people don't trust them, or they never had it to begin with. Look what Zack Snyder's doing. Look what fucking Zack Snyder's doing. Like, Zack has figured it out. So Batman and Superman, not a great movie. Not a great movie. Man of Steel, a lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was okay. But the Snyderverse got a lot of shit, and he has turned a lot of people around because he reached out to the fans. He said, listen, I have this vision. It wasn't seen through. And he's been very kind to the channels who were kind to him. And that's the future of Hollywood. Look at the Sonic director. He listened to the fans. He fixed something. The movie made money where it would have bombed. A little respect goes a long way. And then people start forgiving certain things that happen in a show. Gina might have saved The Mandalorian because what she did on Twitter overshadowed Pedro Pascal's calling 70 plus million people Yahtzees. And it was able to be dealt with because you had Gina out there being Gina. And quite frankly, it was her show this week, and it was great. The reason anime is in resurgence this year is simple. It's not woke storytelling. You're absolutely correct, Peanut Brittle, for $5 Australian. And anime is set to absolutely take over now. The American superhero comic book has fallen. It has collapsed. It no longer exists. And I think that one picture of Captain Marvel was it. I mean, it was already in the hospice, but somebody maybe thankfully put a pillow over its face and called it a lifetime. But the American superhero comic is dead, and anime and manga are going to take over, I think. Hopefully Hollywood doesn't invade that and destroy it. I don't think you want Hollywood involved at all. For one, they wouldn't get it. They wouldn't get it. And I think my kid's reading almost exclusively manga right now. And that's the death of the American superhero too, by the way. Your source material is dying. DC Comics might shut down. Wonder Woman, isn't it weird that the superhero movie was propping up the theaters for so long, and it was a superhero movie that did them in? Wonder Woman. Book looks like a man who's never read a book. Oh, Dr. Maslevod for £2. Book. I mean, the guy's like a decent actor. He's fine in the show. He's not the worst thing in it. He actually brings a little bit of personality to it, but he's not extraordinary. And he's just there to be Michael's Manzel. Gary, FYI, I am also a friend of Bill W. Pilgrim Media for $2. Well, that is good. And one day at a time, I hope you're able to get to meetings. Thankfully, I think I can still go to some indoors. Not being able to go to the gym indoors sucks, but that's one thing I'll have to just deal with. I know there's people who are locked down worse than that. All right. So, okay, Big Worm for $5. I watched this show, by the way. I don't know why, but I can't stop. It's almost like I'm watching to verify it's terrible. Yeah, we don't want to, for one, we're Star Trek fans. We want it to be good. And we're hoping that like one day they'll be able to talk us into it, but it's just not going to happen. It's not. Frederico Cruzel for 10 euros. Death Note is one of the best manga/anime of all time. And well, Netflix did a movie adaptation. You are right. They simply do not get it. No, they don't. They don't. And I wanted to like that. I did. I mean, Willem Dafoe. but yeah, it's not very good. I did like the 3D animated Captain Harlock. I thought that was pretty good. I enjoyed that quite a bit. All right. We're going to wrap it up, folks. We've been going for what? Oh, shit, over an hour. I was supposed to be done in an hour. The next live stream, well, my next video is going to be the Mandalorian review, which will be out tomorrow. And I think I'm going to put it on the main channel because I got a lot to say in it. It's more than just a review of television. The Picard review is being worked on. If some news drops, I'll let you know. The next live stream I will be on is the Inquisition on Doomcock's channel Sunday night. We will both discuss the Mandalorian and in the Inquisition in detail. And I really love discussing TV shows and film with my friend Doomcock. I think we're, I don't know. I think he's a great co-host for it. I just think it's, we started with Game of Thrones, and I think it'll be a decent show. I think we'll have a lot to say. If he made it through Star Trek Discovery, and if he doesn't, I completely forgive him for it. There will be an Exozone this week. I gave you a little hint on Twitter what it's going to be about. And what else? We've got the Nerdrotic Nooner will be later Monday because I have an interview with One America News on Monday at 10 a.m. I don't think it'll be live. I think it's recorded and it'll play later, but I'll let you guys know. And chill stream. There will be a chill stream at some point, probably late tonight, where we will not talk about identity politics. We will not talk about politics. I'll just probably, talk about Lord of the Rings for 2 hours. So that's it. Thanks, everyone. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like what you heard. Once this is off, it'll be on Nerdrotic Live. For those of you looking for a video review, there will be a video review of the entire season at the end of the season. So thanks again to the Modrotics. Thanks again to everyone who super chatted. You keep the lights on, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao.